Let us learn what is figures of speech. Let us learn the figures of speech that we normally use every day. A figure of speech gives additional effect to the language that we speak every day. That is, to depart us from our regular usage of expressions and conversations. Figures of speech can be classified into four. Number one, those based on resemblance, such as simile, metaphor, personification, and apostrophe. Number two, those based on contrast, such as antithesis and epigram. Number three, those based on association, such as metonymy and synecdoche. 4. Those based on construction, such as climax and anticlimax. Let us look at the first one, simile. Comparison is made between two different objects having at least one common thing. There are three common words for simile, like, as, or so. Take a look at the example. My love's like a red rose that's newly sprung in June. Oh, my love's like the melody that's sweetly played in tune. How far that little candle throws his beams, so shines a good deed in a naughty world. Righteous shall flourish as the palm tree. Some common similes of everyday speech. As proud as a peacock. He was as proud as peacock when he passed his driving test at the first attempt. As clear as crystal. His style is as clear as crystal. As cool as a cucumber. My boss is as cool as cucumber even when he speaks in front of hundreds of people. Metaphor is an indirect simile. Metaphor states one thing is like another or acts as another, but takes for granted and proceeds as if the two things were one. For example, when we say he fought like a lion, here we use simile, but when we say he was like a lion in the fight, we use metaphor. Look at this statement. Richard fought like a lion. This is a simile. But when we say like this, Richard was a lion in the fight, this is a metaphor. Similarly, instead of saying the camel is the ship of the desert, this is metaphor, but we can expand it and say in simile as a ship is used for crossing the ocean, so the camel is used for crossing the desert. An object should not be identified with two or more different things in the same sentence. If it can be identified, that is called as mixed metaphor. Examples: I smell a rat, I see it floating in the air. Personification is when we give an animal or object qualities or abilities that only a human can live. In other words, inanimate objects and abstract notion are spoken of as having life and intelligence. This is called personification. For example, laughter holding both her sides. Death lays his icy hand on kings. Apostrophe. An apostrophe is something special than personification because it directly addresses to the dead person or animal, to the absent, or to a personified object or idea. For example, Milton, thou shouldest be living at this hour. O death, where is thy sting? O grave, where is thy victory? Hyperbole. Hyperbole is an exaggerated statement, that is, using language to exaggerate what you mean or emphasizing a point. For example, why man, if the river were dry, I am able to fill it with tears. O Hamlet, thou hast cleft my heart in twain. The meaning of cleft is a space or opening made by or as if by splitting. The meaning of twain is splitting into two. Euphemism. A mild or indirect word or expression substituted for one considered to be harsh or blunt when referring to something unpleasant or embarrassing. For example, he has fallen asleep. The literal meaning of this sentence is he is dead. You are telling me a fairy tale means a lie. Antithesis. While referring to a person or thing that is the direct opposite of someone or something else. Example, give every man thy ear, but few thy voice. Many are called, but few are chosen. Oxymoron. Oxymoron has some close relationship with antithesis, that is, two contradictory qualities are predicted. For example, his honor rooted in dishonor stood, and faith unfaithful kept him falsely true. So innocent arch, so cunningly simple. Epigram. An epigram is a pithy saying or to the point saying, that is, remark expressing an idea in a clever and amusing way. Example, a man can't be too careful in the choice of his enemies. He makes no friend who never made a foe. Irony. A mode of speech in which the real meaning is exactly the opposite of that which is literally conveyed. Example, no doubt, but ye are the people, and wisdom shall die with you. Pun. A joke exploiting the different possible meanings of a word or the fact which sound alike but have different meanings. Example, is life worth living? It depends upon the liver. An ambassador is an honest man who lies abroad for the good of his country. Metonymy. Metonymy is like substitution of the name, that is literally a change of name. An object is designated by the name of something which is generally associated with it. Example, blue jackets for sailors. So we always refer blue jackets for sailors. The crown for the king. So when we refer to crown, it means we are referring to the king. Since there are many kinds of association between objects, there are several varieties of metonymy. Let's see what are there. The sign for the person or thing. Look at the example. You must address the chair. The chair here refers to the chairman. From the cradle to the grave. So here cradle and grave referring to from infancy to death. Second one, the container for the thing. Example, the kettle boils, which means the water in the kettle is boiling. Number 3, the instrument for the agent. Example, the pen is mightier than the sword. Number 4, the author for his books, for his works. Okay. Example, we are reading Milton. Number 5, the name of a feeling or passion for its objects. Now let's see synecdoche. The part used to represent the whole or the whole used to represent a part. For example, let's see the first one. Part representing the whole. Give us this day our daily bread. So here bread is referring to food, everyday's food. A fleet of 50 sail left the harbor. So sail meaning ships here. Number 2, the whole used to represent a part. England lost by 6 wickets. So the word England here, the country England here refers to the whole England team, English team. Transferred epithet. Transferred epithet is when an adjective usually used to describe one thing is referred to another. First, let's see what is epithet. An adjective or phrase expressing a quality as characteristics of the person or thing that is mentioned. So let's look the example. A happy person. Here epithets are usually adjectives like happy that describes a noun person. But transfer epithet is when this adjective is transferred to a different noun like happy birthday. Examples, the builders were working at a dizzy height. Here, heights cannot literally be dizzy. They have no feeling. The transferred epithet intensifies the height. How high up would you need to be to feel dizzy? Okay. Litotes. Litotes is an ironic understatement in which an affirmation is expressed by the negative term, that is, negation of the opposite or contrary term. Example, I am not a little surprised. So here means I am greatly surprised. The man is no fool, which means the man is very clever. Litotes is just the opposite of hyperbole because this is like a complete contrast or a contradictory term. Interrogation. Interrogation is the asking of a question not for the sake of getting an answer but to put a point more effectively. Interrogation has another name that's called as rhetorical question. Rhetorical question meaning a question asked in order to create a dramatic effect or to make a point rather than to get an answer. Example, am I my brother's keeper? Who is here so wild that will not love his country? Exclamation. We already possess some basic understanding of what is exclamation, but let me repeat it again. It's a sudden cry or remark expressing surprise, strong emotion, or pain. Basically, exclamatory form is used to draw a greater attention to a point than a mere bald statement of it could be. Example, what a piece of work is man. How sweet the moonlight sleeps upon this bank. Climax. Climax is a culmination, end point, or a final stage. So we usually know it's a conclusion, is it? The climax is the arrangement of series of ideas in order to increasing the importance of the whole entire story. For example, what a piece of work is man! How noble in reason, how infinite in faculties, in action like an angel, in apprehension like a god. Anticlimax. Anticlimax is the opposite of climax, that is, from higher to lower. It is chiefly used for the purpose of satire or ridicule. For example, and thou, Dalhousie, the great god of war, lieutenant colonel to the Earl of Mar. The meaning of satire is the use of humor, irony, or exaggeration. The meaning of ridicule is dismissive language or behavior, a person using a dismissive language. Hope this video gave you many information about figures of speech. Kindly render your support by subscribing the channel. Thank you.